welcome to Alex Elliott Golf. This is 5 golf tips to break 100. Let's get straight to it. When we're at the stage of wanting to break 100, we're at that point where we need to make golf, and anybody should do this, golf as simple as we can. So we're going to start off with the first point on swing thoughts. How many swing thoughts should we have, and how can we categorize them? So how I want to think of this is, I want you to have 2 swing thoughts on absolute max. I like to think of 1 backswing thought and 1 trigger thought. And how I'd go about this is I would use this when I'm having a lesson with my coach, or when you're having a lesson with your coach at home. Go away from the lesson, ask the question, what swing thoughts could I use from that lesson to help me play my best golf? So let's categorize this for me now. Now the feelings I'm using during the backswing is, I want to feel that the golf club's a little bit stronger, and on the way through, I want to feel like I'm hitting that draw. So my feeling is stronger club face, draw through, and this just stops me getting a little bit steep with the driver. And this is exactly how I would think on the golf course. It's not very technical. It's a feeling which gives me actual improvement in my technical ability, but it also concentrates on achieving a ball flight, and that's the most important thing, achieving the ball flight. So let's get straight into it. Tip number 1, let's hit the shot now. My feeling is, and my 2 swing thoughts are, stronger club face, feel like I'm drawing it on the way through. Let's get on to tip number 2. Let's get on to the next 3 points of how we can break 100. We're going to talk about alignment, whether we should go for flags or aim for middle of the green, and if we've got shots on our handicap, let's use them. Point number 2 is all about, if we have shots on the handicap, let's use them. Now, there's 2 ways, and there's a catch-22 of thinking about this. Now, if we've got, say, 20 shots choosing around, then should we use them or shouldn't we? Should we try and aim to be a better player than that? Well, I think there's a balance. Sometimes if we try and aim to be a better player than that, it can actually bring us into trouble and be fraught with danger. We could take on shots that we wouldn't naturally be able to hit, or we could bring into trouble that we wouldn't naturally come into. So for my feeling here is, I would weigh it up on pretty much each hole-to-hole scenario, and if we feel like we could hit that green, then let's go for hitting that green. But if there's some trouble with water, short, water left, and it's a par 5 for example, or a par 4 with a shot, let's use that shot, get on the green for 3 and make our net 2 points. And this will stop us creating double bogeys and triple bogeys and really limit our damage. So ultimately, be sensible and smart out on the golf course. Point number 3 and 4 really align together. It's talking about alignment, so how we actually align ourselves to target correctly. We're not going to align ourselves either left or right of target, hit a good shot but actually miss a green and then categorize it as a bad shot. But also, should we take on flags, or should we just play from middle of the green more often? Now let's get straight into it. Now, we've got a scenario here. The flag is tucked on the right hand side close to a bunker. Now, we could take the shot on and it could be fraught with danger. We could miss it into that bunker. However, I want you to get into the habit, and this really takes some discipline to do so, because if I feel most golf courses we have in the UK or most golf courses abroad, if we hit the middle of the green, we've really got an option to actually then, even if we 2-putt, or actually have an option to hole a putt. Because imagine if we hit 2 more greens around, then actually we're going to lower our score. Rather than having to be chipping or trying to save it from the sand, it's going to be fraught with danger. So ultimately, I want you to start getting into the habit of aiming to the middle of the green, and this is how we lead on to alignment. So I could easily take my alignment now straight down towards this flag, because it would really draw my attention. We see the flag, we want to go for it. Whereas I'm going to pick out a silver birch in the background, which is actually located left of this flag in the middle of the green. And I want you to do is, to do this, you've really got to be focused on a certain point in the far ground, okay? We've got to pick that point and really stick to it and trust that we're going to go for that middle of the green. Don't get drawn into that flag. So I'm going to pick out that silver birch, going to trace that silver birch all the way down to the golf ball. And I do this just by holding my club up into the air like I'm doing now. Really trace it down all the way to the golf ball, pick out that intermediate target. So my intermediate target's right in front of this golf ball here. Now, you won't generally be able to press on the ground, but I want to highlight where it is to you guys. Now, we can place our club down behind it. I want you to think the leading edge, you know, my Cobra clubs here, I've got a nice white leading edge, is at 90 degrees to that ball target line. So once we've placed our club down, we can take our grip and build our stance around our club, okay? So we've got our feeling of where our ball target line is, trying to feel our feet line is parallel. So we're in a nice position now where we're not going to get drawn into aiming that flag. We can really stay focused on our trees in the far ground and really commit to that. So now let's hit this on middle of the green and let's work on point number 5 on the green. Now we've hit the middle of the green, like we said. We've tried our alignment to the middle. We wanted to choose that we're going to go for the middle of the green each time. Now, the final part of breaking 100 is down to the short stick. I want you to imagine when we've got any putt of considerable length like we have here, I want you to think and feel that we're going to try and work this ball into a bin lid size. So we're going to try and feel as though we're going to limit our chances of creating a 3-putt, and we're really going to feel that we're trying to create a 2 to 3 foot circle all the way around this flag as our bin lid as an aim to get the ball in. Now, the most important thing I think we should try and think about here on these longer putts is, one, obviously, be kind of obvious thing to say would be pace, but pace is, for me, is more important than line. If we get the pace correct, then we can actually feel like the line doesn't have to be as important. If we get the ball to drop in at the right speed, we can hold this putt on several different lines, the line becomes a little bit bigger. So we're going to try and visualize getting this ball within a bin lid size and limit those 3 putts. Let's go and try it. So you can see there, all I was trying to focus on was actually getting this ball within our 3-foot circle. If we can actually do that, it's amazing how many times we actually will get the ball close to the hole. Rather than trying to feel like we focus on actually smashing it into the back of the hole, let's be really aware of where we want to put this ball, and let's limit those 3 putts, and that'll be the keys to us breaking 100. Ultimately, if we could 2-putt most times, yes, okay, from a short distance we'd like to 1-putt, but from a considerable distance like we had there, if we can limit those 3 putts to 2 putts, then we're going to be in a lot better situation out on the golf course to start saving some shots and finally break that barrier. So finally, there we have it. We've got the 5 tips to break 100. We started off with swing thoughts. We went on to whether we should actually use our shots out on the golf course. We then talked about whether we should go to middle of the green or go for the flag, and how we actually align to our target. Finally, finishing on putting. I'm really trying to work on getting this ball in a 3-foot circle, our bin lid, to really make sure we limit our chances of making a 3-putt, to really cut out the silly mistakes and break that 100 barrier. So there you go, one of the really good tips we have here in Alex Elliott Golf, the 5 tips to break 100. We've got other things. We've got improved club head speed, stop that slice, and also sharpen up that chipping around the green. Don't forget to subscribe, and see you next time.